He'll just be shaking his head in hands.
He's gonna be like big
Well,
brother.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna want to commit suicide between JP and Josh stroking each other's monkey the whole fucking time, talking about girls who take pictures of their fucking duck lips and lineups for other teams that I don't know and other bullshit.
We'll decide each other's stink star, don't worry.
Hello, Ben. Thank you for coming on our great pod.
Hello, mate. Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Never met you, but you sound like a great you sound like a great guy. Tell Josh he's a fucker and you want to have sex with his mom.
How did you know?
Go on, Ben.
I like you already.
Okay, so welcome to Hotspur Way, Season 1, Episode 36. Today we have James, not the Cypriot James, we've got Toj Josh, Hannah, and our newest recruit for the evening is Ben. If you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I'm Ben Bowman. You might have seen my face too much on TikTok or Twitter. As I was told by Flav on the Fighting Cock the other day, I'm whoring myself out to every single Spurs podcast. And I'm doing that again tonight, so thanks for having me on.
We are really used to whoring.
That's fine. Good.
Do you want to drop your socials as well, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm Ben. So Ben Talks Football on TikTok. I had the worst comparison of my life the other day, just because I share the same handle as a very unfortunate Arsenal fan by the name of Rory, and I was being called a B-Tech or like what was it? It was like Arsenal fans in my comments. Just the dick riding for someone like him was crazy. Just saying, just a rip off. So.
Which Rory?
I'm the Spurs rip-off Rory. That Rory Talks Football, not the Chelsea one, not Rory Jennings.
Rory Talks Football. That one.
Oh my god,
Josh.
He's blocked me.
He blocked me on. He blocked me on Twitter as well.
Man.
I've literally just seen. I was just thinking. Then I've not seen him for ages on my feed, and now I've just checked it, and he's blocked me.
Yeah, he's blocked me as well.
He's not blocked me.
I don't know how.
That's because do you remember that time he was kicking off about something and you replied, and you were the only person he replied to about it.
He's got a crush.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder why.
He's so pathetic, honestly.
And then I called him out as well, and then I had all his
You
little army chasing me.
Yeah, I had that the other day. I was like, imagine glazing over someone that much. I was just like, who just makes Arsenal TikToks? But so that's me, Ben Talks Football TikTok, and just my name on Twitter. That's where I do most of my talking. And also, we've just started another Spurs podcast because there needs to be one more of those. There's not enough. So I've just started the Daring and Doing Spurs podcast alongside Will Hester, who is a legend. Nice. And we've literally started that this week, or last week actually. So yeah, feel free to go and check that out if you want.
Lovely. You're active.
That's a lovely plug.
Too active, I reckon. Maybe, would you say?
Do you have a job outside social media? Or?
I do.
Do you touch grass?
Yeah, I do touch grass.
Are you sexually active?
Well, I mean, depends who you ask.
I mean, this is a safe space.
Your right hand or your left hand? Which one?
Sometimes both.
Does anyone have a preference here?
Well, people say that
what?
There's like a person or your hand.
I mean, I usually use whichever I write with, which, my mouth works all right.
Are you Marilyn Manson?
Yeah.
Had a couple
Did you get an operation? Yeah, I was going to say, he got an operation, didn't he?
Did that actually happen? Was it a rumour? Come on.
Do you sit on your hand?
Just ask him for a mate.
Josh is revealing all his secrets now. Josh, do you sit on your hand first?
I do. Call ourselves the Dead Hand Gang.
Wow.
Fuck it up.
Right. So, the point of this ad hoc pod was to discuss the news this week about the 6% increase in season ticket prices. Obviously, a lot of people are unhappy about this. So, shall we start with Josh? Because I know you have a season ticket. How do you feel about this news? How did you receive it?
How did I receive it? It's not great, is it? It's not a great outlook. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know was it the last two have been frozen? I know the last one definitely was. Was it the last?
I think there's not been an increase since. Oh, there's been one increase since 2019. I think it was.
That's just COVID. It's been since COVID, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's basically been frozen since then.
And then they're using what was it? They said what was the excuse they gave?
It's like rising costs and like
on everything.
The utilities are going up.
Yeah,
it was like football clubs aren't immune from the rising cost of like it's just like fucking hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is that, but then at the same time, didn't we just release in the accounts that we are like the most profitable club in the league or something like that? We've got the biggest revenue going at the moment. We're making the most money, and like that's 6%. I think someone said on TalkSport it works out at £55 per person per season. I know that doesn't sound like much, but do the club really need an extra £55 off everyone just for that? When we just sold Harry Kane, so that's 100 million and his wages off the books. Got rid of Perisic, that's his wages off the books. Lloris, that's his wages off the books. Dyer, that's his wages off the books, who are all on huge wages, by the way. And then, obviously, you got brought in Ange Postecoglou, whose wages are probably a quarter of what Conte was on. And now they want more money from us, despite them saving all that money and making extra in revenue throughout the year anyway. So it doesn't quite all add up. And it's not even that, is it? It's also they got rid of the discount for OAPs, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the existing season ticket holders who have become eligible as of now, isn't it? They will be okay for next season. But they're going to begin reducing the concessions down by 5% over the next 5 years. I think they want to bring it in line, don't they, with like the youth tickets? Is it 25% discount over the course of 5 years?
I don't even think it's the youth tickets. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I know it's something Arsenal were doing.
Well, yeah, this is the thing. Like, I'm going to try and stay really neutral on this, but Arsenal did remove the senior concessions. Not that we want to do anything comparable to them. Obviously, there's talk of Fulham as well. Fulham have really, really expensive tickets, right? And also Brighton, I read they're planning on increasing theirs between 5 and 8%. So, obviously Spurs is our club, but is it a Spurs issue? Is it a Levy issue? Or is it more of a collective football issue that we're looking at?
I think it's collective. Because if you look at Aston Villa, I think their price has gone up by like 15% or something over last season. Like theirs is insane. I think naturally we probably have the most scope out of any club to not raise prices. But I think the flip side to the argument is a lot of times like there's been chances that might have fallen through or dragged on a little bit longer. And there's always been that crowd, and myself included, just stump up the extra million, stump up the extra 2 million, what are you haggling for? And if, money was that issue and these price increases gave that amount, which they won't, but if it is that extra little bit of cash that can get something over the line, we can't then moan to not take measures to get that cash to get that over the line, if that makes sense. Yeah, I still don't think we should be doing it, and especially on the concession side of things. I do have an idea of why they're doing it, which is a bit backwards and not likely, which I'll explain later. But yeah, I just think there's always a double-edged side to it.
So are you don't agree with it? Is that your stance?
I don't. I can see why it's going on, and I'm not for it. I am against it, but I think from a business perspective, it makes sense despite the shit PR that we always seem to manage when we're onto a good thing. It's always like, we're doing well, and there's always something with that, just, I can't even think of the word, just like that picture of the stadium. Yeah, there's always a picture of the stadium, and it's like the most abhorrent news you'll receive all week.
It's like a corner flag or something. It's like when a manager gets sacked, it's like a picture of the corner flag.
It's exactly that, and it'll be like, sorry your mother's died, here's a picture of the South Stand. That's always the way.
What was the old picture when it was we were waiting for the new stadium to open? Do you remember that? They used to come up like every 2 weeks saying it's been postponed or something. Do you remember that when we were at Wembley?
Was it like that, like facade on the outside, like the metal, like sheath thing?
It was it was like purple as well or something, wasn't it?
We used to get more of them than fucking. Yeah, I was going to say we used to get more of those tweets than like either signing players or just like it was just ridiculous. I remember there was one thing with it before we moved. I think the first game at the new stadium was meant to be because it was meant to be like we were meant to move in the first season, like the season we got to the Champions League final. That was the first whole season we were meant to be there. Then it got pushed back.
Pictures on the tube, wasn't there? There were loads of pictures.
Yeah, it was like the only place you're going to see Champions League football. It's like that's not going to come back to bite you, is it? And it was like I remember it was like the first game I think was meant to be like I think it was meant to be Liverpool, and it got to September by that point. We played a couple of games at Wembley, and it was literally like 2 weeks before it was supposed to happen. It was like, oh yeah, actually, sorry, we're still going to be at Wembley for like another 3 months or whatever it was, and then it got kicked all the way down the road to like April when we moved in. It was nuts. But,
I remember as well when we did move in, like the club said nothing. All the news come from when the stewards were telling the fans that they haven't been given shifts for the next month or something.
At Wembley,
so literally, it all filtered out after the last game at Wembley because the stewards were telling all the fans that they're not due back.
I haven't got my rota yet.
Literally.
Okay, so Ben, let's come to you. So, are you a season ticket holder?
I am, yeah.
And has your price increased? Because I've seen some people say theirs hasn't, and they haven't been affected by it.
Yeah, so I was talking to my mate earlier. He's a season ticket holder in the South Stand, and his has gone up. It's only like £6 a month or something. His is like just over £1,000, and it's gone up from like 1,010 to like 1,070. Mine's gone up to. I managed to secure myself a season ticket in one of the most expensive areas in the stadium, and mine's £1,600 a year now, which is fucking mental. And it's one of those ones as well. Like he sent me, there's like this PDF of like it breaks down the prices basically in every block in the stadium, and it was like if I sat 10 rows in front of where I did, I'm right at the back of the East Stand, like right at the top. Like it's a good view, but I'm literally 3 rows from the back of the stand. And if I was like 10 rows in front, it'll be like an extra £300. It's just it's crazy. Me and my stepdad got the renewal email yesterday, obviously as well, and he's going to be 65 literally on Sunday, and so he just falls into that last year of being a concession because obviously they're moving the age to 66 and then massively reducing the discount. So his has gone down to like just over £500, and it's like it's just nuts how much it's like all the fucking like young people are like. So you've basically got like. I mean, I'm 26, but you've basically got like you could have like a uni student basically paying more than like someone who's just coming up to retirement. Mm. And I get that. I get there's a point around like, you know, the people that have supported the club for like a very, very long time, who've been shown so much loyalty to the club, who have, you know, seen us win stuff and also seen us not win anything in the last however many years. Like, it's important that they are not forgotten, but it's also like, what about the young people who are just kind of starting that journey, whose prices are like, it always seems to be a little bit lost in that. And like, there's nothing like, I do completely get the argument around the concession tickets, but there's also, it's about everyone, and it's like, it's so feel just very greedy and just a money grab and incredibly unnecessary. Like, so I was reading, there was something earlier that Jack Pitbrook put like an article in The Athletic and sort of did almost like got the perspective of a few fans and sort of wrote a lot of the numbers out. And it was like, so he said the 6% hike has been estimated to make an extra £2.5/3 million per year. For context, Spurs bring in £5+ million per home game. It's just like, so you think of what, obviously you touched on it earlier about the revenue that we have brought in. Those numbers were for 22, 23. So like we were bringing in that much money and became basically the richest club in the Premier League, or the highest sort of grossing club in the Premier League, when most of that was when we were shit. So like if you think of when, like under last season, whereas if you think of how much money we'd be making now, and I think part of the problem is that my mate said it, and it is kind of true, like if they'd have raised the prices by 3% last year and 3% this year, it would feel that little bit more palatable. But I think that they thought the PR would have been so bad around raising it off the back of like a really shit season going into like a really uncertain summer this year, that it would have been too bad to do it, so they almost just relented. But we all knew this price increase was coming at some point. Like we said it earlier, we've only had one since we've been here, but they sort of pat themselves on the back for that. But like you said earlier, like a lot of that's been, like half of that was during lockdown. Like we didn't go for 2 years or whatever it was. So it's like they can't pat themselves on the back for not increasing the prices. It feels incredibly steep and just like very, very unnecessary. But yeah, and the worst thing is as well is the thing they said about if people want to spread, because like for me, like 1,600 quid is a lot of money to front up front. So it's like, oh, you can pay it back over 12 months, but you're adding an extra 6.7% on top of that as well. Now it's like fucking like it's really greedy. And also it's come at a time where like there was a real shit show like around the ticketing for the members sale for like the last few games of the season. Yeah. So like the general sentiment towards the club over the last couple of days in terms of ticketing generally has not been that great. And then when you add to that we're in a recession and the cost of living crisis, it's just incredibly, well, it's just a bit tone deaf, isn't it? And the problem is as though like clubs are now so transparent about how much money that's brought in, is that we're all aware of the facts, like we're all aware of the numbers, so everyone will just turn around and say, well, you're making this much money, growing every single year. Like, and you said earlier about selling Harry Kane. I think, yeah, it's just shit. It's just shit.
That's fair fucks.
Yeah.
So, okay, the level of outrage then, and I don't mean to like play it down by calling it that, but would you say then, is it optics as opposed to the amount that has been raised? So like James said before, does it just feel like shit PR once again? Is it bad timing? Does it sound a bit tone deaf, like you said? Or is it actually the amount it's been raised by in one go? I'm just trying to get a feel really for where people are.
I think it's a mix of all those things.
Yeah, you said like if it was sort of 3% one year, 3% the next, maybe people may have been able to stomach that a little bit better, but like you said, we were playing shit, so it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But say, for example, we've gone on to win the FA Cup this season, and then in March next year, they turned around and went, by the way, it's going up by 6%. Do you feel that people would have reacted the same way as they have now? Or would it have been like a level of acceptance of, okay, well, we're doing all right, actually, so maybe we'll swallow that?
That's the thing. I think it's that... Sorry.
No, go on. I was just going to say, I think it's like a little bit of... I think it's all of the kind of things that you just said, like mixed into one. It's the timing, it's the steep kind of hike. Like 6% does feel like a lot. But yeah, go on, mate. What was you going to say?
Yeah, no, I think it's just a mix of everything. I think from a business perspective, obviously, the team and the financial side of the club, the business side of the club, they have goals and targets to meet by the ownership and those above them. And, obviously, the player sales and, letting players go is going to help with that. But I think ultimately a club is always going to look to exploit whatever ways of generating revenue they can, whether that's concerts, different food options, whole design of the stadium to keep people in as long as possible, increasing ticket prices. A club's going to do that to, beat their financial goals, but whatever means. And as crap as it is, the heart and soul of a football club, from a business perspective, is the money that's coming in, and the fans will always be a second to that, which isn't how it should be at all. But I think we need to take the emotion out of things. With a club like Tottenham, there's always going to be the next fan, the next person who will take your season ticket. And from a financial perspective, that's what the club are going to see realistically. And I think we need to, just as hard as it is, because we love this club so much, we love football so much, there's a need to view things from a business standpoint. As boring and farty as they are, and how much we dislike them, it is the real side that we need. Fortunately, we've not got an OnlyFans girl to dampen things more. But
that would be the final nail in the coffin, wouldn't it? Right now, imagine if one comes out this week.
You don't know. It's prime time. I saw someone started doing a
that's
whole.
It. I'm not renewing now. That's the final straw.
That's the line.
We're already on the floor.
There's just some slag with a Levy mask like lobbing her tits around the place. You could just see it. I mean, to be fair, I know I'd put my extra 55 quid too. But yeah.
That's a whole year's worth of subs, that is.
Honestly, I think that's well worth it. There's worse ways to spend 55 quid. But and I think, I don't know, just an outside opinion, I think maybe the senior concession thing, it's that same type of view. So I think realistically the club's going to want to bring in a younger fan base. I think there's not a great deal of younger fans supporting Tottenham as there are your Arsenals, your Chelseas, and that does go through the winning history of the club, or lack of winning history of the last 15, 20 years. And I think that's something the club's going to want to bring in. And so I think, as shit and cunty as it is to start pricing out older fans, I think there is a reason to try and bring in a younger crowd to, one, bring up around the club, bring a bit of popularity back, try and end the sort of Spursy banter tag on a social perspective, and just make that club that bit more popular with younger generations. It's a bit of a out there, dark view on things, but that's how I can see things being.
It's pragmatic, if anything, but yeah. What were you going to say, Ben?
I think that actually does make sense. I didn't really think about that, and you do look at like Arsenal, for example. I've I was having this like in a different kind of context, having this conversation with someone like a few weeks ago about our fan base does feel like quite comparatively older. Like when you look at some of the other teams, like in London especially, maybe it's us and West Ham, I think, who are probably very much like, if you took like an average like age of a fan, like I feel like Tottenham and West Ham are kind of aligned on that, but like Arsenal feel a lot younger. And I think there maybe is an element of that. It's like you said as well, like I think it's one of those things, the sad reality of it is that as much as the clubs say that football is about the fans and stuff like that, they know deep down that someone else will take the seat, because we've seen like, and obviously that the kind of whole conversation around like tourist fans generates like a lot of toxicity. I think is actually a lot of it is mixed directed at the people that go, because I do think there's been one thing that sort of left a bit of a sour taste in the mouth from the statement is that like how good the atmosphere has been this season, and I actually kind of disagree. Like it was good for like the first sort of few months. Like I remember the United game at the start of the season was bouncing because it was like first home game, 5:30 kickoff, like everyone had been on the piss a little bit, and then like you think of individual games like Chelsea and stuff, like I don't think like over the course of the season I don't think it's been that great. And I think it's kind of off on a tangent a little bit, but like people coming back to the sort of thing about like there will always be someone else to take the seat. Like a lot of these tourist fans will come and they'll get the blame for the atmosphere being shit, but people would rather moan about them being there than actually getting behind the team themselves. So I think that creates a little bit of a problem in my opinion. But the reality of it is that there will, whether it's a tourist or whether it's like someone will always want to come. Like someone will always want to fill the seat. So like as long as the stadium looks full for Daniel Levy, like it doesn't really matter whether it's fucking John who's seen us win a double and has still got a season ticket, or whether it's, fucking Steve coming over from America for the first ever game. Like it's still all looks the same to him. And I think part of the problem as well is that because of how I think the thing for me, the overriding thing for me is that they've taken advantage of the feel good factor around this season. That's exactly what it is. And it's like, we'll try and sneak this in there because we're playing a lot better football, and it's a lot more fun to go to Spurs. And like I said, I can't remember what the amount of money that Spurs, I think it was like £5 million Spurs make per home game. And if you look to next season, and as much as we'll all sit here now and say that like we're all unhappy with this, which we are, like we'll probably still be like, I said this to my stepdad last night, like when the first home game of the season comes around next year and it's 25 degrees and we're playing we're playing at home at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, we'll all be at the bar like after the game, or like, we'll still all be putting the money in. So they're in a win-win situation really, where they'll ride this wave of anger out for a little bit, but it's that thing of just like, I'm pissed off, but I still renew my season ticket, and that they're relying on that. But I think it's more just a bad taste of like they're pricing out some like the older fans who have shown that kind of loyalty. But it's just a bit, it's crap.
Yeah, I think that's the bit that sticks for me is the concession. Like the whole point of the concession was to make it easier in the first place, and then you're just kind of whipping that away. That just doesn't sit right. I mean, the price rises are going to come regardless. Like everything is going up, and in reality, football is leisure, it's choice. So I can't be as annoyed about that as I can, for example, my gas and electric. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but the level of venom that I've seen has been quite something. So, I mean, the fans that are unhappy, what do they do? As far as I know, we've obviously got the trust, the supporters trust. But I've seen a lot of venom being directed to them as well, saying, well, what have you done about this? So, do the fans require better representation? What would that look like?
Well, I mean, they brought in the fan advisory board and the supporters trust, but naturally they're only going to get so much of a say to voice opinions, and you know the supporters trust isn't going to be, oh, Levy out, Levy, you bald cunt, get out, reduce the ticket prices. That's not what any of them are there for. It's diplomatic, and that's the way it should be. You know, it shouldn't, as much as our frustrations get to us sometimes about the way things are done and how the board like to operate, they can't just go in smashing the place, chatting their arse off, because that's just going to put them out of the position, who've worked really hard to get where they are, and they have done some good things to the club, for the fans, which we have to admit. So there's no use going about it like that. I think it's probably as best as they could have done things if this has been their vision. I think it is unfortunate timing with the membership shit show. But I think whilst it is shit, it could have been a lot worse. They could have scrapped the concessions completely. I'm really sounding like fucking Levy here.
Was that Josh's ankle again?
I was hoping no one would hear that. That wasn't ankle.
That fucking echoed, mate.
Jesus.
Has that you've been so quiet? You've been clicking your ankle.
Oh no, you would have heard.
Sitting on
That's
his
the
hand.
first one I've done.
That's what he's been.
That's what it is, yeah.
Had a little something tank. Now he's back.
You were rudely interrupted, James. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I sort of forgot what the question was, to be honest. Josh, seeing you've been paying attention so much, what did you follow on?
Follow on?
Josh.
I think you've covered all the spots, mate.
Okay, let's go to you, Josh. Josh, I know. So, I know that you're quite unhappy about this. I think you've been quite vocal about it.
Have I been happy about anything?
Well, that's true. In your sad little
Since
life.
you flopped out.
I think I've been miserable since I was about 12.
So, Josh, are you going to renew your season ticket?
Yeah, of course I will. I mean,
are you going to attend more than 2 games a season?
No, that's true. No, because haven't you got to now?
No, you don't.
Well,
you don't
really,
have to.
yeah.
If you can forward it to friends, it counts as utilised, as long as you do it via the Tottenham way of doing
ticket
it,
share thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you put it on the Tottenham ticket exchange, like their exchange, it also counts as utilised, so it doesn't matter. I'll still keep it.
You've just got the wrong attitude having a season ticket. I can give it away, it's fine.
Yeah, well, but I'm basically wasting it, aren't I? I've got a season ticket. There's people in queues, and I'm just sat here with one, just giving it to my mum every weekend.
All the way down in Portsmouth.
Literally.
Ben, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, to be fair though, like on that, well, yeah, essentially is like as long as your ticket gets scanned, like if you're there or not, like, and the thing is as well, like I do think that was one of the things that people sort of took an issue with because they were caught up in the anger of all the other stuff, because like everyone knows how to share tickets and like sell it through the like, and also like there are ways around that as well if you don't know how to do that. You like screenshotting the QR code, like for a lot of people does work as well. So like as long as your ticket gets scanned, you were technically there. But also like I think the problem is with that is that well, I was going to say the problem with that is, but like, I guess that as long as your ticket technically gets scanned, you've technically gone. But like, so many of our games, like we've not been in Europe this year, but we've had like 13 midweek games or something. So like, people aren't able to go because they've got to give up other plans. So that it feels a little bit like senseless in the fact that it just feels like unnecessary and they're trying to have control over too much stuff. But like, also at the same time, it's really not that hard to just share your ticket or sell it. If you know, like everyone knows how to do it, so it's not that big a deal. But it just feels like another thing. It's like, okay, but why do you keep making all of these changes at once? But I think people just maybe got a bit angry with that because they got caught up in the other stuff. I know a lot of clubs do it though. Like one of my mates is a Man United season ticket holder, and it's not 15 games, but you have to go to like I think theirs is like 10 or something. I think Arsenal have a similar policy as well. Where like I think we're quite late to this trend of doing stuff like that. It feels.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was about to say. That's really professional, isn't it?
Have you not got a list?
No, I had
James.
something
I was going to say Chris.
Yeah, where's your running order?
I had something on the tip of my tongue. Do you know what I'm going to do?
Not for the first time.
I'm going to read something out, right?
Anything? That's a very vague thing to say.
A poem?
No, I'll tell you what I'm going to read
Lullaby.
out. It's something I saw earlier. So it's a rumour, right? And it's to do with the concession tickets, right? So that the senior tickets.
Is it a rumour or a conspiracy?
It could be one or both. I'm not sure. I'm not giving this any credit per se, but I want to know what you think. So someone said, I know a mate who has season tickets he pays for, but for people who are actually dead. He sells the games on but maintains the loyalty points. And apparently, this is one of the reasons why the club is clamping down on the senior concessions. Has anyone else
seen
seen
dying
this?
but carrying them on.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can kind of.
So they're keeping the ticket active.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because they're just going to be making pure bank from it.
Yeah.
100%.
And then from the other perspective as well, there's probably like, not to discredit any international fans, because, you know, all fans are fans at the end of the day. But I do feel there's probably a lot of international fans who, you know, will have a season ticket, only show up for maybe like the North London derby and Chelsea, and then for the rest of the time they won't attend, or, you know, they won't show up, they won't flog it, they would leave it empty. And I think there should be an incentive from the club to maximise your season ticket whilst you have it. And I do like the idea of, you know, having a minimum amount of games to attend, and it should be quite a high minimum, you know, obviously, but I think it should be over a few years and as an average, because if someone's going through, you know, severe medical treatment, they might not be able to make it to a game for 18 months. But, you know,
survival of the fittest, James.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Game's a game.
If you're Stephen Hawking it, not my problem. You best get that other legs attached, you know. But yeah, it's one of those. I think if they make a rolling average of X amount of games per season, you average over the last 5 years as a minimum requirement, then that should have a bearing on, you know, if your season ticket is allowed to be renewed, and also as a member, where that can place you in the ranking to apply for a season ticket.
That's a good shout.
If you remember attending a lot of games per
idea.
season, you should have a priority in the waiting list. There's going to be some coefficient they do. They hired a fucking whole stats team for recruitment. They can do it for our tickets.
Yeah, that's.
I remember when I got offered mine, I was like 36,000 on the waiting list, and I got offered one.
Yeah,
I got offered one last season, and I was in the 70s.
Yeah,
no,
I remember it was the year after COVID, like when we hired Nuno. Someone that I go to Spurs with, he was saying that someone he knew, they were like 70, 80,000. They got offered season tickets like after the renewal process had been done. Of like they were like really, really high up, and they were like, "Do you want a season ticket? Like, do your kids want season?" It was like they were getting offered like 3 or 4, like just no question. It was like they couldn't seem to give them away. And also they've introduced like the half season tickets this year, which is how I got in. Like I've been a member. I had a season ticket for a while before. But then had to give it up, and then I'm back now. But like I got back in through the half season ticket process, and then it's like once you've got that, you're basically in. And I think that's kind of like back in the day how a lot of people used to get in as well. And I was like, again, like I was like when I gave mine up, I went back to like 70,000, So, it's like people say about, I've got mates who are Arsenal fans and they say like, oh, how impossible it is to get tickets, and like they'll be on the season ticket waiting list for like 15, 20 years. It's like, how the fuck? I don't get how that happens. And also they've fucked themselves over by going to like a ballot, which I think has really pissed off a lot of their fans as well.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really feel fair. So I think, kind of going back full circle to what you said, Hannah, about like, is this a Tottenham thing? Is it like a Levy thing, or is it like a general thing? It's definitely a general wide problem in football, not just about season ticket price rises or price rises in general, but just the way that fans are treated. And I think fans that have been on season ticket waiting lists or have been members for so long, it's such a weird one, because I don't want to sound like ignorant, but I was talking to someone about this the other day. The amount of people that you see about who struggle to get tickets through the members' sales now, I never really ever have had that problem. And I know there's always going to be people who miss out. Maybe I was just lucky. But I think when you look at the way they do it at other clubs, and I don't think like ballots are the way to go. So there's like a fine balance, because I think ballots actually make it more unfair in a way. So I think it's just the whole ticketing thing, like for all clubs, is just a bit of a mess, and something kind of needs to be figured out just across the board.
I don't think I ever had a problem with when I was a bronze member. I never had that problem as well. Like, everyone kept going on about the Ring of Death, didn't they? The Tottenham Ring of Death.
that.
No, because I used to literally, tickets would go on sale. I think it'd be on a Tuesday at like 10:30 in the morning. And I'd be at work.
Yeah.
And I'd have a tab open with it on, and I'd probably be in the waiting queue for about 15, 20 minutes max, and then I'd be in straight away. And then I'll be going through Twitter and everyone's struggling. I'm like, what's going on? Like, why? Who are these people? Why are they struggling? Like, I literally I got the pick of any ticket place I wanted. It was always, was it block 36 South Stand? Was that that was the one right next to the away end, wasn't it? I'm sure it was.
White Hart Lane?
Yeah, the old ground.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was either 36 or 35, I can't remember. That was always the one. But yeah, this Wheel of Death thing, I've never ever got stuck in it, unless you can count 30 minutes as being stuck in it.
There was a lot of upset over the member sale for the North London Derby, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Recently. Like, lots of people were really
shocked.
upset.
Did you
about
see
that.
my tweet about it?
Yeah, I did.
Watching all the carnage unfold whilst I was sat there on my season ticket.
Yeah.
That you're probably not going to use.
No, I think my mum and dad have already booked the hotel for that one. So.
Oh, they are going? Oh, that's nice.
Oh, they're going to watch us shag Arsenal, then they're going to shag each other.
My dad's never been to a North London derby.
Who said romance was dead?
I know, right?
It's my dad's first North London derby as well.
Aww.
Oh, that's cute.
That's
It's
lovely.
It's going to be a special night.
I've been to
It
loads.
They stay safe.
If you're going, you have to look after him. I know Johnny will be
She is a MILF, by the
looking
way,
at my
Josh.
mum.
For everyone
She's
listening
a
as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
Johnny
Sick.
likes her.
Did you just say I know, Josh?
No, I said
He did. He definitely did.
I think I did, but I wasn't
heard
meant to.
Well, Johnny's just piped up to say lots of anal action for Elisa. So
Has he? Oh my
yes,
god.
he has. So all
How
right,
do
Why
you
doesn't
feel
Johnny
about that?
chime in and say that then? Come on. Say that.
be a man about it.
Yeah, be a man.
Lots of anal action for Elisa.
Hey.
He sounds like a Siri.
You just have to say, "Hey, Johnny," and then I pop in.
Hey Johnny, what's my mum getting at the North London derby?
Anal.
Fuck's sake.
Hey, Johnny. Hey, Johnny, what do you think about Josh's mum's stinky sphincter getting pounded all night?
Oh wow, do you have to be that vivid?
Yep.
Says you.
Yeah, but it's not about my parents.
I just want to spaff on it.
Oh god.
Incredible. It's that American touch, the sledgehammer touch.
Enjoy it. Why not?
Okay, so we obviously posted earlier on the Twitter asking if anyone's got anything to say. I think we'll start first with it's more of a statement than a question. From George, our friend George, do not follow 1882. He said, in protest at the club's announcement yesterday, I'm not going to mention fish fingers, other than to let you know I'm not mentioning fish fingers. Even though I'm a George, I'm not a pensioner, but I would love to see Levy try to buy a season ticket and live on a pension, bald cunt. So that's.
Thanks for that.
Thank you, George.
I did receive a question for you, Hannah. Actually, to be fair, you're welcome.
Why? Why did
it was
you?
From an anonymous user.
Well,
they're not anonymous.
They wanted to stay anonymous. Their name was like Borge. I don't know what that means. And they said with the average season ticket increasing by around £55 per person, they've wondered and wanted to ask you directly, how many boxes of fish fingers could that buy you, and how many do you reckon you could take for Ange?
For fuck's sake. Right, first of all, Borge, I have maths dyslexia, so I can't actually work out your question. But did he just ask how many I would... What did he say?
How many
boxes?
I would... How many boxes of fish fingers?
For what? For what purpose?
Could you take? Just for Ange.
We've been through
between
this.
both holes.
Didn't we settle on 30?
Boxes. This is a different question.
Oh, not 30 boxes. Fuck me, I'm only human. Boxes of how many
Debatable.
though? Do you know there's lots of variables
Your standard
here.
box. You're the one with fucking kids here, Anna. You buy fish fingers.
Okay, so what, box of 12?
Yeah, is that standard?
A box,
Definitely you definitely get Lidl's own as well.
As in, can I take them out the box?
There's no birds
Reduced.
Can I take them out the box, or do they have to stay in the box?
Nah, full box.
Or the actual cardboard?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't have the facilities for that, big man.
If you can scrunch up the box a little bit if you need.
Yeah, put it in a little bowl of water to make it soggy.
Oh, do you know,
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
Ange, but I had the husband stitch, so I'm not sure how many I could get out there. Let's just go for a safe bet. Let's just go with one. Welcome, Ben, by the way. It's been really nice having you on.
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah.
He's not going back after this.
He's not.
He's scarred.
No, I mean... I
Who
didn't
actually
expect
was
any less.
that sent that in?
No one. I just
It was
made
you,
that up.
wasn't it?
Just made
yeah.
it
Yeah, I wanted to piss you off.
It was actually
Thank
me.
you.
I'm joking.
Ben, you dark horse.
Ben's going to do a TikTok later to be like top 5 Tottenham podcasts not to listen to.
Yeah.
We'll
We
just
don't
beat all
mind the
5 and the
notoriety.
bonus.
We tell everyone not to listen to us, don't we? So that's fine. We also have a question from our lovely E-Ray.
Oh, I love
I
him.
know, I miss him.
E-Ray, you sexy cunt.
He is. How many goals do you guys think I'll have to refuse to celebrate until Levy goes? Ben, I'm not sure if you're familiar with our E-Ray.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Is it an act, or like is he being serious?
He's
very serious.
Because I remember, what game was it? Where was it? The Burnley game where Porro? Oh yeah, I literally just looked at his tweet. It was the pinned tweet, and like the amount of interactions that got, I was like, surely this guy's on the wind. I hadn't really seen him before that, but I quite rated like the fume that it brought around it. I was like, fair play, that's quite funny.
Incredible, wasn't it?
Well,
we saw him in the pub, didn't we, Josh?
Yeah, and the Wolves game, we went to the pub afterwards, didn't we? And then we told him, you need to smile now. And
and we were tagging the pub so that everyone knew where he was. This divvy cunt. So, yeah, I don't know if anyone has an answer for that, because I don't think this man's going to stop, to be honest.
I hope he doesn't. Even when the next owners come in, I hope it goes down to his kids as well. I just want it to be like a long-standing tradition. Have you seen the thing where like those fans died with season ticket holders and they put statues in? I want that to become E-Ray. I want him to have his own statue of a person sitting down, arms crossed. Yeah. And someone just to engrave like E-Ray as a cunt on like the back of the skull. I think that'd be perfect.
Yeah. And drape it in purple and gold. Yeah, perfect.
I think it really is.
Oh my god.
Quite the touch.
Man. We do love him. So, does anyone have anything else they want to touch on?
No. Nothing from
right
me.
now. It's still getting over still a process of getting over the pain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not quite there yet. So, both you guys are going to be renewing your season tickets anyway.
Yep, so I'm a hater everything he's done, but I'll be there next season, Daniel.
Yeah, we will be there.
We will be there.
Hey Daniel, kiss kiss.
On that note,
When the neck oil goes up like another 50p, we will still be there.
Yeah.
He got by 50 quid, I think I'll still be there.
You know he might listen
Yeah.
to this and take full advantage, so be very careful about what you say.
Yeah, that's true. Daniel, if you're listening...
As long as the Hotspur pizza doesn't go up, that Hotspur pizza is fantastic.
I've never had it.
Have you not?
I've never had
Oh,
it.
you're
No.
missing out. It's
I'm a
very good.
signature pie man myself.
You're stick to the roots. So
Pie,
your pies all.
fucking nonce.
It's
You love a
not-
sausage
Tory.
roll, don't you, James?
No, the sausage rolls
I
are
do
shit.
like
Though,
the
I'm
sausage
sorry.
roll.
They're like
They are.
so hard.
I
They
love
used
That's why he
burgers.
likes them.
Burgers are
Yeah, it's a good point.
fantastic,
Yeah.
especially with the added
Burgers
brisket.
sound-
Get that on there as well.
Oh.
The chicken station, that hits.
It
So,
does.
what the
Has
one
anyone
like
had-
just outside the marketplace? That one.
The West
Yeah,
End.
is that...
Yes.
Is, oh,
Yeah.
Is that the
I
one
know
I
there's one
showed
that-
you?
It looks
There's-
like it looks like a Nando's or a Chicken Shack, just like
Yeah, it's the imitation chicken
Yeah.
shop one.
Yeah.
The Korean,
there's-
I think it's Korean wings they
That
do.
is banging, to be
that
fair.
they hit.
what has anyone been to
They
the
need
curry
more
bit
of
there? The naan stop, whatever it's called.
Naan and noodle.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, I've never. It actually looks pretty alright, to be fair. But I
Yeah.
just,
I've
I
not.
just think
I've
you're a
not
bit
ever
of a,
seen the fish and chips place. I've seen pictures on Twitter every day, but I've never seen it in the ground. I don't know where it is.
That actually, it's in the market. It's actually quite good. That might be a Nancy thing as well, but the fish and chips are
It
well
is
nice.
very noncy. That's a hard drive check and a half.
Maybe
getting
I-
fish and
yeah.
chips.
Yeah, check his hard drive.
It's something you need to tell us.
Yeah, if there's one thing we've learned from my first time coming on this podcast is that I am a nonce. So I'm glad we got that.
Incredible. James,
So
if
Daniel,
you're
if you-
listening, please clip that.
Daniel, if you are listening as well, I won't tell you my block number, but please let me renew my season ticket. I'm not a nonce.
And
He
now
wasn't
we know
scam-
the
I'll go to
answer.
scam-
next season,
yeah.
Daniel.
Yeah, I'll go to scan my ticket for Villa away on Sunday and be like, why is it not working? Just get escorted away by two stewards.
You and Thomas
Yeah.
party on a leisure in the summer.
Right.
Christ.
So we've
On that
established
note-
that extra 3 million is going towards feeding Josh when he goes to the stadium once a year.
Yep.
So yeah, on that note, does everyone want to say goodbye? Josh, should we start with you?
Goodbye, all. It's been an absolute pleasure. Love you, Ben. You've been great.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me.
And James?
Yeah, bye everyone. Thank you, Ben. Been a pleasure. Yeah, who knows? Maybe have you on again sometime. And
Stop it.
yeah, just a little plug for reviews. Please, if you really, really hate us, don't give us 5 stars. We would really hate that. Yeah, please. Yeah, stay away from the reviews. Honestly, don't give us 5 stars. Give us 5 stars, or your mum's dead in the morning.
I love that, the reverse psychology.
And
And
he's
Ben.
threatening to murder families at the end.
Yeah.
This is
That'll
great
get 'em.
PR. You can work for Spurs. Yes, Ben?
Yeah, goodbye, everyone. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure. And make sure you go and leave 5 stars.
Oh, come
Definitely go and
on.
leave 5 stars.
Love that.
Or don't, or do what you want, to be fair. That doesn't really bother me. I'm not a part of this podcast, so do what you like.
And yes, it has been fun, and it's been really good having you on, Ben. Thank you.
No,
for
thank you
jumping
very
on
much.
Short
Of course.
notice. It's been a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
pleasure.
Love you all. Bye bye.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Is everyone actually going now?
I don't know.
It's that
say
awkward
it.
thing, just like people say it, and then it's like, yeah, me too.
Yeah. I
No.
let Johnny know that we're wrapping up. So
Yep. Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate it.
Sweet.
No
I'm saving
worries.
a file. I think we're good. Thank you, Ben. You're the man.
thank
Thank
you,
you, mate.
Johnny.
That was
Yeah,
better
thank
than the
you,
last
Johnny.
time without James, wasn't it? That one was a lot more controlled.
I think Hannah might have something to do with that. I don't think I'm a very good dad of you, Josh. As much as I wanted to be your dad, I would have beat the
Only
piss
so
out
you
of
could get to his mum.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
Yeah.
Just to score the magical minge.
Oh,
Riddle,
Johnny, you'll be happy to know, Johnny, my mum has had a boob job.
Oh, that's
mate.
disappointing. I like all
Oh.
naturals. They gotta swing low, buddy.
You know, she's
Add
got
her on
plastic,
Facebook.
she's got plastic cannons.
Not
I've got to
tonight.
swing a little.
Swing low, sweet chariot. That's what Johnny likes.
That's right. They gotta have some movement to them, you know. Yeah, I won't get too vulgar, but they gotta have some movement to them, Josh.
You won't get too vulgar, like you've not said too much already.
Well,
Yeah.
if you lay her,
Yeah,
if you
Josh.
lay her on her back, and they're just sitting there, I mean, that's just boring, you know. They
I've
gotta
literally
bounce, they gotta
limited
move.
your country down to a terrorist attack, like almost every time, Johnny. And you're willing not to get too vulgar with me.
Remember, he said he'd drive a lorry into my kid's school. Like,
and
this
mine.
is that man.
Yeah, and mine. Yeah. I think he actually said into my kids, didn't he? Not even my kids' school.
I don't know if I ever said that.
Oh, is that a step too far, is it? Didn't you say earlier that you hoped that I died of a terminal disease?
And he wanted to
What
see
was the
blood
message
dripping out
actually
of your
sent?
nose. Yeah.
Well, Ben, this
Is-
is us. Thank you for being around us.
No, I love it. No, I love it.
Hannah was
I actually
meant
think
to
it's
be
probably
on,
worse if you. I was going to say it's actually probably better if you just ran over the kids rather than the school, because there's more casualties at stake if you go for a whole school, isn't there? So like if you're thinking in terms of the numbers,
Yes, but then
Sniper
probably the
attack,
right
that's a
decision.
good point.
But it is your
Sniper
children,
attack.
so it's like
yeah, and it wasn't a philosophical argument really. He was just being a cunt.
it was just yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
To be fair, Ben, she was meant to be on Harry Scarf's podcast, but she said no because she swears too much.
I was going to say, right, this really made me laugh because when you messaged me earlier and was like, oh, I mentioned you on the podcast, I went and listened to it. And then it got to the question that then turned out me being brought up was asked by Harry. And I was like, surely he does not listen to this podcast. I was like,
That's bad,
with all the
right?
respect in the world, like he's like 15, 16.
Yeah.
I was like, surely he does not listen to this.
I know,
Well,
that's
I
like,
figured too.
when he messaged me, I was like, are you actually sure? Like, yeah, and then he sent me the thing saying, like, no swearing, so I need to monetize it, etc. And I was thinking,
Oh, were you meant to be on
Fuck.
Monday?
yeah, I was meant to be on a Monday with you
And
and
that Jay.
Billy and Jay.
Oh yeah, Billy
yeah.
pulled out because Billy was doing another one, and that I realised that I didn't realise until afterwards, until he tagged me and that Jay in it who he was, because I remember like digging that Jay guy out massively on Twitter because he's like one of the most negative people
He's
I've
very
seen. I was like, and then on the thing I was like, oh, good to meet you, mate. Like, oh yeah, well said and all that sort of stuff. And I looked who it was after. I was like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Did you
Well, this
see
is
what
why I
happened
wanted you
when we
on.
when I dug out that Tan's the owner?
Oh God.
Oh, that's
Did
really
you?
funny.
You know? Do you follow?
No.
Do you
Wait,
have Tan's the owner
who's
on
that?
Twitter?
Okay, basically, let's give a bit of context here. So, a little while ago, I don't know how many weeks ago it was now, 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Make it quick. I need my computer.
Oh shit, okay. Basically, all the Brennan Johnson hate that was going around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was this one girl and she was so fucking negative, and she was like, it's like she just hates football in general. I don't know why she's even watching. Anyway, we went on the pod and Josh called her out by name. And it all just like kicked off massively. It went wild, didn't it? We got so much fucking hate.
What's her name?
Tan's
Tans.
Leona Lewis, I want to say. Leona
No, it's not
Lewis.
Leona
Leona
Lewis. It's Tan's Leona.
Oh
But she's blocked us all now, so.
that's a shame. At least to be
Anyway.
fair, at least you didn't get Nigel Farage on here. That was the worst one.
Fucking hell, yeah, that was a bit clumsy.
That was
Farage,
mental.
as Johnny would
50
say.
quid for it.
Farage.
Yeah, that was
Right.
the worst.
Josh would call him Daddy. let's be honest.